Hi, welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea, episode 51. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Twitter and Instagram. I blog over at the Corner of Knit and Tea, and that's where I post each episode and the show notes. I have an Etsy shop called The Stash Buckler Adventures in Yarn, and we have a Ravelry group called the Corner of Knit and Tea. If you haven't checked it out, you should come over and do so. We'd love to see you. Hi, it is Sunday, August 23rd, and I hope that you have had a wonderful week and are enjoying a beautiful weekend. This week was busy for me at work, but quite productive. And then the weather has just been absolutely gorgeous. About Wednesday or Thursday, it cooled off. It was about 75 and breezy. It was just amazing. Yesterday was a little bit warmer. Today's a little bit cooler, but it is clear that the weather is changing. While I do expect we'll have another heat wave or two before the summer is over, it has given us the sign that there will be a fall, and it has just been beautiful, like the weather I grew up in Southern California, and it has made it a pleasure to be out of doors, and actually that's what my husband and I have done this weekend. You might notice that I got a little sun, and actually my arms are all red too. Yesterday we went to the Kansas City Air Show, which is held at the downtown airport, and we had planned to go for a couple hours. We left the house about 10 a.m. and they closed off the airport to traffic, so you had to park somewhere downtown or near Union Station and then take shuttle buses in. And so I want to say we got to the shuttle bus stop maybe 11:30, and by the time we got back to our car it was after 6. So we were outside. I had put on sunscreen, but it clearly did not last all day. We got to wander around. We got to see a whole bunch of planes, and I have pictures of that on Instagram. And we got to see a bunch of acrobatic pilots doing some fun stuff. And then the highlight of the afternoon was that the Blue Angels flew a whole flight demonstration, or a whole demo, and the whole show was about 45 minutes long, 45 minutes an hour long, and it was absolutely amazing. For those of you who don't know, or who are, say, outside the United States, the Blue Angels are the Navy's elite flying team, and they do precision flying. So their specialty is flying in formations. They are Blue Angels are made up of 6 pilots, and currently one of the pilots is actually a Kansas resident, so that was kind of fun yesterday. Or hails from Kansas, and they do all kinds of formation and tactical flying. And there are 6 planes. Usually 4 are in a close knit diamond formation, which I do have some pictures of on my Instagram. And then the 2 others are more solo pilots who do various maneuvers, but then occasionally all 6 get together and fly. They either fly in a delta formation, like a little pyramid, or oftentimes what they'll do is they'll start in the delta formation and then they'll pull off. They have, one of their signatures is they do a fleur-de-lis, where they fly in together and then all take off in different directions, and they did a couple of those maneuvers yesterday, and it was amazing. It was really, really cool to watch, really loud, great photo opportunities, and just really kind of gets your adrenaline flowing. It was very fun, and my husband and I had a great time. And we had some fair food, and we walked around the airport, so we got a little bit of exercise, although not as much as I had hoped. It was slightly smaller in footprint. They had everyone crammed into small spaces, and I wished that it had been a little more, because I had hoped we'd get a little more exercise by being outside all day. So we have some ideas about what we want to do if we go next year, but it was probably 80 yesterday. It was breezy. We ended up buying a couple souvenirs. I got a Blue Angels shirt because they were so amazing. So that is what I'm wearing today. And then we also ended up buying an umbrella, which was perfect because then we could stand in our own shade of the umbrella, and that actually made it really, really pleasant. To be honest, the only unpleasant thing about the experience was because there was no parking at the venue, and I mentioned we had to shuttle bus in, you can guess what happened at the end of the day. right after the Blue Angels were done. It was about 4:15 and the event closed at 5, and everybody swarmed the parking lot, and it was kind of a nightmare to get out. We just sat and waited another hour before we even tried to get on a bus. And so by the time we got home last night, we stopped and got some dinner and whatnot. But by the time we got home last night, it was 8 o'clock, and I hadn't knit a stitch, nor had I spun at all. And I feel like that kind of explains my week. I spending a huge amount of time on this one because I have very little to show you for this week. But that was an amazing day. And like I said, I have photos on Instagram. So, and actually a brief video of them coming in. So if you want to check that out, those are there. So I will get into what I do have. I have a little bit of knitting, a little bit of spinning, and then a few questions. So let's get started. Of course, the first thing is tea. I made another iced tea today. And I'm always so excited. I order a million tea samples, and usually I order between 2 and 4 ounces. And while almost all of them are good, I'm always trying new things, so I have this huge box of samples that never gets used up, and I was so excited because I used up one of my samples today, and I made an iced tea. It is called Berry Kiwi Colada, and it is from Tivana. And it is an herbal infusion, and the ingredients include hibiscus flowers, rose hips, candied pineapple, candied mango, carrot slices, candied tangerine, apple slices, coconut chips, lemon verbena, and strawberry slices. So, and then it says it does contain tree nuts. So this is, I believe, a 2-ounce sample, 56 grams, Berry Kiwi Colada from Tivana. And then what I did is I just I had about 4 or 5 servings of that, and so I used that with my regular green tea. And I am drinking again iced in my Tervis mug, and this is just delicious. It's got a little bit of berry, a little bit of kiwi, lots of other nice flavors, a little bit of coconut. And I am kind of dehydrated today because we were out so much yesterday. We kept drinking, but between the sunburn and being outside and it being, like I said, it was beautiful weather, but it was warm and we were standing in the sun. It's the whole air show is out on the tarmac, so there's not a lot of shade there. So yeah, so I am hydrating today with my Berry Kiwi Colada. And the picture should last me for a little while this week. Sippy sippy. Thanks Kim and Sam and of course Bunny. So I will show you the only thing that I worked on this week was my sweater. If you remember, this is a mashup of Mary Jane by Sarah Moore using the color pattern from the Wonderland Tank by Nicole Montgomery. Last week I told you I hoped by the time we spoke again that I would be done with the body, and unfortunately I'm not quite there yet. At last count I was at about either 13 or 13 and a half inches, and I need 15 and a half, and the last inch or so is going to be 2x2 ribbing, so I really need to get to about 14 and a half inches, and I'm getting close but not quite. So it looks very much as you have seen it before, except that the body's almost done. It is the top in the pink, and then the color work section, and then I have quite a bit of the body. So I am hoping to finish this today. I really have nothing else after the podcast that I have to do today except for a couple loads of laundry. So I am hoping, honestly, to just chill, not move, forget my step counter today, although I'm already up to 3,000, so that's not terrible, but kind of forget my step counter today. I got salads from the market for dinner, so I don't need to cook, and I am really, really, really hoping to just sit and knit. So I'm hoping, like I said, I think I have another inch or so on the body, and then the 2x2 rib, and then I need to go back and do the sleeves and the collar. And this is my third Camp Loopy project, so it is due by the 31st of August. And I think I'm on good track to make that, even with not finishing the body this weekend. Next Sunday is the 30th, so I basically have a week to do my sleeves and the collar if I finish the body tonight. And I really think that's totally doable. So that is what I have been working on this week. week. It may not seem like a lot, but I was at about 6 inches last week. So I have knit probably 6 to 7 inches. And by tonight, I will have knit like 9.5 in the space of a week. So really, really boring knitting. But yeah. So that's what I have done this week. I also, okay. So Maria Mosca on Stitched in Sweden podcast has talked recently about her design process and her that she's working on designs and that she wants to share them, but she's never sure exactly when to share them because, of course, she doesn't really want anyone to copy her designs. And she wants to be sure that they're all worked out and done before she shares them. But of course, it takes up some of her knitting time. So I will say I did spend some knitting time on a design this week, and I'm not ready to show it yet. And I know I keep talking about this, and I shouldn't keep talking about this. But so here's the deal. The last few weeks, I've been talking about working on a design. I pitched the design to some people this week to see if I could get some support for it, and they agreed. So now the support is coming in the form of materials. They are sending me some materials to knit up a sample and then work on preparing the pattern. I have a couple test knitters lined up, and I think the pattern is probably going to debut sometime in early to mid-October. And because the sponsor is getting involved, I am giving them sort of first rights of promotion. So I am waiting to see when they want to promote it, and then I will do a podcast to promote it in conjunction with what they're doing. So that is kind of the story. I know, like I said, I keep talking about it, and I always hate when people talk about it and then can't give details. So I will try not to talk about it. Please know that there is a little bit of knitting going on and that I just can't show you. And it's so frustrating because I am a person who pretty much shows everything that I do. And so even if it goes horribly wrong, but on this, I am kind of delaying because, like I said, since I am lucky enough to have some support, I want to give them a crack at how they would like it to premiere. So that is as much as I can say, and that is the knitting for this week. Hopefully next week, by the time I podcast, I will have a finished sweater to show you. I really, really hope that I do. And then I have a bunch of other things that I am working on. I actually have started a new pair of socks, but I've only got about this much in. I got like the cuff and one repeat in, but it is for some yarn that I'm reviewing. So I plan to show you those probably next weekend as soon as I finish this sweater, because that will be the next project that I work on. I also have some fun stuff coming up. I have, I'm going to do a birthday sweater for Roxy. I know, I can't believe it. She's going to be 2 at the end of October. And I need to knit her a sweater. And her mom has asked for some more winter gear. Last year I did a whole bunch of, you remember, if you've been with me that long. Last year I did a whole bunch of hats and mittens for her, and none of them fit anymore, so I need to do some more. So those should be quick projects. But that's kind of what my September looks like. I am also preparing to do the craft show again in November. So I will be working on spinning yarns and knitting up those little mini mittens. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to... So I still do the Harry Potter House Cup. I haven't talked about it that much, but I still do it and submit projects each month. And one of the things that you can do is you can propose a larger project to span the 3 months. It's called an owl, after the owls in Harry Potter, the ordinary wizarding levels. And there is a category of owl called arithmancy, where you knit multiples of an object, and I think the one of the things they talk about is like 8 pairs of socks, maybe. Anyway, they're looking for about 40 hours worth of work, and so I am trying to decide if I should declare that I want to knit 50 or 60 of those little mini mittens, because they take about 45 minutes a piece, and so that would get me to 40, 45, 50 hours. And I'm trying to decide if I want to declare that because I still have to work on my design and I still have a million other things going on, and we are going to be doing some traveling in October, so I can't decide if that's a smart thing or if I'm just going to make myself crazy. So I am still thinking about that, but that is knitting on the horizon, and I feel like I should talk a little bit about that since I didn't have very much to show you today. Those are some things that I hope to get started on in the next few weeks as August winds to a close. So that was the knitting segment, although most of it was talk and no show. Which moves us on to the spinning segment. Last week I showed you a braid by Spunky Eclectic. It was one of her club colorways called Nebula, and it was on Falkland. And I have finished spinning it up, though this has not had a bath and a thwacking, so I don't know exactly how much yardage it is. My guess is between 350 and 400, based on what it's not going to be 400. Probably 350, 375, I hope. I guess we'll just have to see after it comes out. It was pinks and purples and blues and little bits of mauve and purple, and it has just come out beautifully. That is pretty color accurate, although as always I will take photos with my good camera before it goes up for sale. It will be a couple more days because, like I said, I still need to wash it and thwack it and then go ahead and get some measurements. But that is finished this week. I actually had intended on plying it on Friday, and I didn't quite finish spinning it early enough. So then I had wound it up to be plied because I play out of a center pole ball yesterday morning, and then my husband said, hey, you want to go to the air show? And at like 8:30 last night I came home exhausted. I took a shower. I was sucking down water because I was dehydrated and sunburned, and I was like, I cannot go to bed until I finish plying. So just like a robot. So yes, so it is done, and it will go find a bath right after this, and we'll hit the shop probably Tuesday or Wednesday this week once it is dry. So that means it's time to pick something new to spin. I went through my club fibers, and this is a Hello Yarn club fiber. I believe it's from September. I've got the label down on the floor. September 2014. It is called Slumber, and it is Polworth Silk, which is one of my favorite blends. It's got some greens and some yellows and a little bit of blues, and then it's also got purples. And this is just luscious, luscious, luscious. And I don't know what it would grow up to become. It will be going in the shop, but I am super excited to spin it because, like I said, it is one of my favorite fibers, and Polworth silk is just super soft and lustrous, and I think it will be beautiful. And I love all the little crazy pops of color. Adrian's dyeing is absolutely amazing. Just when you least expect it, there will be pops of little things that you just want to touch and spin. So that is my spin for this week, and hopefully it will be washed and dried and ready to roll by next Sunday. So I have lots of goals for the week. Let's see if I can get any of them done. So that is the end of my content. See, I told you I was a little content light this week. It's kind of all been like yesterday, where we've gotten sucked into going and doing things, and I just haven't had as much crafting time as I want. And frankly, I'm a little bit overwhelmed because I have a lot to do and I feel like I'm getting nowhere. But we did have a wonderful time yesterday, and I'm really, really glad we went. So I have two questions from the Ask Me Anything thread, which is in the Ravelry group It is a thread in the Ravelry group. And if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to post them there, and I will answer them on the show, or you can always post on YouTube or on the blog or PM me. The first one is from Vinka Kent, who said, how did you come upon your Ravelry name and why the pirate references? Are you a closet pirate? My name is kind of a not super interesting story. It's a longer story that I'm not going to go into, but my nickname in high school was Fluffy. And I used that as an online screen name for quite a few years. I started when I was in college playing on a MUD, which is a multi-user dungeon. It is like the precursor to MMO games today. It was entirely text-based, so I always describe it as A little bit like World of Warcraft without pictures if everything were in text. And if you ever played the computer game Zork when you were a kid, or, well, not even Oregon Trail, because there weren't really like even pictures, but it was all text-based. So it was a game, but that you could play and you could be interactive with other players. And it was structured such that, like, it would say you enter the pub. There are 2 exits. You see a bar, you see a blah, and some descriptive text, and then you could go east or west or whatever. And coincidentally, I actually met my husband on the mud back when I was in college in those early years. But the story is, originally my name was Fluffy. And when I went away to college, I got involved in this game in particular. And I had a not great experience with someone and decided that I needed to change my identity, screen name. And so I picked Kira. And I don't even know why I picked Kira. That was what I picked. Fast forward a couple years to the AOL Instant Messenger timeline. And when you needed to pick a new screen name for various things. I mean, this was before Twitter and whatnot. And Fluffy was never available. And actually neither was Kira. And so I went ahead and put them together, and that has kind of been my moniker on most sites ever since. And the reason it's Fluffy K on Ravelry is because I was Fluffy Kira for many years, and then it was a little bit of an ill-advised thing when I started my shop and I wanted to sell the Stashbuckler Adventures in Yarn. I changed my name to the Stashbuckler on Ravelry, but it was really complicated to type, and everybody reminded me, all my friends said, that's really obnoxious. I really hate typing that. Fluffy Kira was so much easier to remember, and I still think of you as Fluffy Kira. And because you have a small number of name change allotments, but you can never go back to a previous name, when I decided I was done with the Stashbuckler as my Ravelry ID and really wanted to go back to my home ID, I had to pick Fluffy K. So that is the Fluffy Kira. The pirate thing, honestly, I don't even remember exactly how it started. I think I was making jokes about, wouldn't it be funny if there were a Dread Pirate Fluffy? And so I started putting the Dread Pirate Fluffy in my Ravatar. If you look back, my Ravatar on Ravelry right now is me in this fabulous picture that was taken, by a wonderful artist who was looking for knitters to bump up her profile. And it's an amazing picture. I love it. And I can't believe it's just amazing. But if you look back at a whole bunch of my Ravatars, a lot of them say the Dread Pirate Fluffy on them. And I did that forever. And when I opened my shop, I decided I wanted it to be kind of pirate themed, and I was having fun with that. And people said it was kind of memorable that I picked names for the yarns. So that's kind of why I've stuck with the pirate theme. Neither of them really have any foundation in much of anything. So, and I know it's super confusing. If I had thought about or known what I was going to be doing over time, I probably wouldn't have selected so many different IDs. I mean, because I'm a Stashbuckler on Etsy, and I blog at the Corner of Knit and Tea, and I'm Fluffy Kira on a bunch of other places, and I probably would have tried to tie them all together, but unfortunately, I just didn't think about in the beginning what I might want to do, and so that's how I ended there. So I hope that is a sufficient answer, although it's not super satisfying, but I hope that lets you know what's going on. The second question is from Melody Stitches, and she said, are you planning to go to Flyaway? If so, please take lots of pics for those of us who will be attending vicariously. I don't know if you're familiar with Ply magazine. It is an absolutely wonderful magazine, started just a little over 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, by J.C. Boggs, who is an amazing spinner. She's been a spinner and an instructor and a contributor to magazines for a long time, and she decided that she wanted to start her own. So about 2.5 years ago, she started Ply. And Ply is produced quarterly. It is a beautiful, beautiful magazine. I have a bunch of volumes. I should have brought them to show you. But they're gorgeous. Each issue is focused around sort of a single topic. There has been a color issue. There has been a silk issue. and I'm totally blanking right now, but there are a variety of things. There are articles about spinning, there are techniques, there are usually a couple patterns, and the advertisements are gorgeous. It is just a beautifully produced magazine. JC announced just recently, in the last couple months, that she is going to be hosting an annual retreat, the first of which is being held in April. It's around the 21st through the 24th, I think, in 2016. And JC is native to Kansas City. So it will be here in Kansas City. And the answer, Melody Stitches, is you bet your bottom I'm going. The registrations for classes open in November. I want to say around November 1st, November 11th. I'd have to check that to be sure. The website is plyaway.com. And there are packages for hotel and whatnot if you are not local. I will not stay at the hotel. I'll probably just stay at home. But there are classes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There are a couple 2-day classes, there are several 1-day classes, and then there are several half-day classes. A variety of teachers. I know Deb Robeson's coming, I know Abby Frankmont's coming, and I'm hoping that I'll get in to one of her classes. I know Amy Boogie Spunky Eclectic is coming, Amy King. I'm trying to think who some of the other... I know the ones for the classes I wanted to take. But you should really check out that site if you're interested in traveling. Kansas City is a great place to travel, and in April it should be just gorgeous here. But yes, I am going. Yes, I will take pictures. Yes, I'm sure I will talk all about it. And I am super excited. It's a bonus for me that it's happening in Kansas City this year. I sort of assume that because JC lives here, or as long as JC lives here, it will be held here, but that is an entire assumption on my part. I do not know anything about what she's planning to do in the future. And I guess I said annual. I'm hoping it's annual. I think it's probably the first of more to come. But I am super excited and feeling very fortunate that it's here because it won't cost me anything more than tuition and my wallet entirely being gone in the marketplace. So, I managed to fill 26 minutes in an episode where I had almost no knitting and spinning, so I hope that I didn't push my limits on how much you'll listen to me talk. Thank you for joining me today, for those of you who asked questions, and for those of you who tune in regularly and leave me comments. Thank you so much, and if you just watched for the first time today, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back. Usually I am more productive and have more interesting things to show, and I hope I will in the coming few weeks. But I guess that is it, and I won't take up any more of your time. I will say, as I always do, I hope you have had a wonderful weekend, you have a wonderful week ahead, and until I see you again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!